It's another episode of the Brett Allan Show. We're back from a semi-summer hiatus. We took about a month off to move. We're broadcasting not from California anymore, but from Colorado, of all places.
Right.
Yeah, but today we have a very special guest. We're chatting with veteran actor Daniel Roebuck, who can be seen coming up here quite soon in the Rob Zombie vehicle, the Munsters. And he's done a million other projects as well. But thank you so much for your time today. Oh, there we go. Grandpa Munster.
Yeah. Brett, I'm so happy to be here today with you and your fans. I'm a very lucky guy. Brett, we got great news today. Can we say what
I'll let you say it because I saw the news. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it has been confirmed, of course, there's all this stuff that we could never talk about. Best news ever. We're going on Netflix.
Wow, that's huge. That is
huge.
Amazingly huge. And
I know
hear it's going to be simultaneously with the new Addams Family extension Wednesday, which is great too.
To Tim Burton and Rob Zombie. And by the way, geez, I hope it doesn't denigrate into them against us, because it's for this entertainment for everybody who loves what we love.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. When I first heard, look, wouldn't it be great if our Munsters was in a movie theater? Well, we're in a different world than we were in 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, it would have been in a movie theater. But now, getting it in front of 300 million people at the exact same time, that's a really great idea.
I find it fascinating too, because I remember when word sort of got out a little bit about that Rob Zombie was going to be tackling the Munsters. I think because we all know sort of the types of movies that he's made. He's done a lot of things, but I think most people would know The Devil's Rejects, the Halloween films, all of this. And then we are like, oh, we're going to talk about the Munsters. I don't know. For me in my head, I'm like, is this going to be like the Munsters and people are going around sawing people's heads off, or is it going to be a traditional, like, sort of what people might expect? And I think it is the latter, right? It's kind of like,
well, it's a joyful, yes, but they've already made that Munsters, the Bryan Singer version, 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They already did it, and it was like, I try to speak positively about everything because I'm overwhelmed by the overt negativity in the world, and I don't ever want to be part of that as best I can. Sure. I will say about the Bryan Singer version, had great actors, the director, but they misaligned the story, and that that didn't turn out good. Our movie is like, it's just like a joyful romp. Wow. The trailers come out and there's, everybody says mixed reactions. I got news for you, and you know this too. And the gauntlet I throw down is and it's the same thing people know, if they're at Delta, they get a letter of a complaint, they know it represents one 2,000th of their flyers.
Yeah.
Because people write to complain. The movie's great. It's fun. It's joyful.
Looks great. It looks
amazing. And it's like, what did people want? It's not, it's a fun movie. It probably will I don't know. I feel like I'm defending it. I don't want to start.
No, I don't think that you're defending it, but you're playing a very iconic character, Grandpa Munster, that people are very familiar with. And the original actor's name escapes me at the
Al Lewis.
Al Lewis. I remember when I was in high school, he had a pizza joint in the village in New York City, and we went like on a high school drama tour of the city and saw plays. But then, like, part of the stop was going to this grandpa's pizza joint, and he was into his mid 80s, maybe even 90s back in '93. And he was kind of like, that was the shtick, as you come in and you eat Grandpa Munster's pizza. But I tell you, from what I've seen, and when you guys started releasing cast photos, and then all of a sudden, now we have the trailer. I just think, it looks fantastic. I'm excited for it. And I think people are going to really appreciate it. From what I've read, it has a couple of the original cast members in it.
Yeah, we've got
Patrick
Pat
and
Priest and Butch Patrick, a friend of mine, great guy. Just I think, by the way, I should Butch just opened I think a YouTube channel called All Things Munsters, something
yes,
like that. People should go to that because there'll be so much great information there. Yeah, it's got the original cast members, which is great. And you know, it's got three very experienced actors, Jeff, Daniel Phillips, Sherry Zombie, and myself.
yes.
And I'm fortunate because Al Lewis and I were from the same part of the world.
Wow.
Yeah. So I kind of talk like him sometimes anyway. Uh, when I relax my when I'm not watching my P's and Q's of Dixon. Um, but like I when Rob asked me to do it, I thought, yes, why not? I wasn't afraid. I didn't like it was like,
Yeah.
why it's time to bring a new Munsters and we're there. So I feel like I'm rambling. I'm so
No,
sorry.
no, you're totally fine. I think it's great. You've worked with him on a lot of different films. What is it like working with Rob Zombie? Because I mean, there's like two different sects when it comes to his world. There's people that know his music, and then there's people that go, "Oh, he's a film director," and they might know him from one or the other. And then there's like my generation where we put the two together and we go, "Oh,
Yeah.
he was in an amazing band for years, decades." And then he got into the movie business. But I've seen him in other interviews, and I've heard he's just spectacular to work with. I mean, his
Well, he's
filmmaking process is so different
yes,
than what most people might have experienced as an actor.
100%. Uh, I'm very embarrassed to say that I forgot to plug my computer in. Uh, People at home, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be
Talk
right
amongst
back.
yourself. People love this kind of stuff. They find this extremely fascinating.
Here, hold on. Let me. Oh, he won't stand there.
That's a great.
Talk to Grandpa.
That's a very very nice figurine,
Great
by the
toy,
way.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's very
Right there.
cool. People love this. I mean, we can leave this in. I think people find this fascinating when they talk to people and they realize that it's and there's a normalcy to who you are and what you do.
Well,
That's
you're
okay.
very
My light
kind
kept
here. There'll
flickering on
just
and
be
off.
one more
So
second.
take your
Uh,
time.
uh, you know, have one job. Be ready for my interview, and I'm not ready.
It's okay. I am not worried at all, even in the least, my friend. Um, it's all good. And here we are, folks.
I feel like the dad at Christmas Story. Don't anybody move.
Nobody moves. So, Rob Zombie, what's it like to work with him as a filmmaker?
So let me just say that I've worked with him as a filmmaker a number of times, and then I went to his concert. And you have this highly intelligent, very he knows more about movies. I know a lot about movies. I spent movies is what I love. He's seen probably twice as many movies as I've
Yeah.
seen. He knows movies. He's erudite. He's smart. You talk, he knows, like, he's very intuitive. He's got an ear for the dialogue and whatnot. And then that's the director. That's my director. And then I go see him in a rock concert. And I'm like, and I always say it must be like if you took Rod Taylor and said, "Oh yes, did you know Alfred Hitchcock's in the Ice Capades?" And then you take him to see that, and you'd be like, "What? What?"
I know. That's what I'm saying. There's two different worlds that people just. It's hard for them to dissect the two and go, okay, he's one versus the other.
But when you even watch his show, I'm very excited. I'll be at his show in 3 days in Indianapolis.
Wow.
So I'll get to see him. Um, you know, it's like you see the level of specificity in his music videos,
Right.
and then you see them in the movies, and he's very good at like kind of tapping into the psyche, the American
Wow,
psyche.
I could
Uh,
see that.
and you know, uh, he's a good showman. We were saying that this morning. I mean, that's something um, lost on this generation. But in the
Yeah,
old days, we had William Castle, and we had um, William Castle, Roger Corman, whatever. These guys who knew how to make a bigger deal out of something and get people interested in seeing it. I think he certainly has done that with the Munsters, these photos and whatnot. Um, and it's just got people kind of ginned up for the final product, I think.
yeah, I would say so. And I mean, the fact that he is a musician and they just have different mindsets about everything, to me,
Yeah.
it makes sense that he could also direct films because there's the same sort of, you know, thoroughness and mindset that you need to sort of put a film together. And of course he loves the horror genre. I've heard him talk in interviews. He grew up, loved those movies, and said if there was a movie that I could do or that I could direct, it would be this, that, or the other. And he did such a good job with all the others. And I think I like the fact that he keeps a tight cast, like you've been in many of his films, and he keeps a lot of the same people in his movies. So when you watch maybe The Devil's Rejects or the Halloween films or whatever the case might be, you get this sense of a camaraderie between all of you, and that's why I think the Munsters will be fun. I'm excited to see it. I mean, I grew up watching reruns of that show on Nickelodeon and all the other channels, so I'm so excited. So again, we've kind of said that you've done so many great movies, but like, when did storytelling or when did acting become interesting to you? Like, when did you know that you wanted
Oh,
to do it?
I had the same hook that Rob had, which was the classic Universal monsters.
Yeah.
Like, Brett, there was a point that I realized that I was watching actors. You know what I mean? Like, how do you really explain that? There's that phrase, you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
right? So I didn't know what actors were. I knew that I was a little boy and I knew that I liked TV. And then one day, I guess I realized, I mean, you're watching House of Frankenstein and you're like,
Yeah.
Horace Karloff, but right, I couldn't even read or write, but I knew that name was the guy in Frankenstein. And at some point, I divined that the guy here, Dr. Niemann, Dr. Frankenstein here, was the monster in that, and that this guy's Dracula, but here he's Frankenstein. And here this guy is the Wolfman, but here he's son of Dracula. Like,
Yeah.
so those were the actors that I really kind of zoned in on, which I think is one of the reasons I've always been fascinated with acting and makeup, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I find what you do and others just extremely fascinating because it's just, I say this all the time. It's so different than I think what most people might be used to as far as a job or a career. Um,
Well, yes,
it's
right, because
not,
in their job and career, they know they know how much they're going to make every year,
yes,
and then
what
they
days they're
make
going to
it.
go to work.
Right. And they know when they're going to work, and they know how much the house costs, and they know how much education is. Uh, I have great pride in the fact that I put two beautiful kids through Catholic school and through college to the extent they wanted to go. Um, and, I've been able to do a lot just because I was able to do this thing that I'm able to do. And now I would invite your listeners to look up a channelofpeace.org. Maybe you could give them a link so they can find it.
Yes.
Um, a Channel of Peace is this not-for-profit that we started, through which we make faith tinged family movies. You know,
Yes.
it's important for me to not say Christian movies. I'm making movies about people having or discovering a need for belief in a higher power, and
Love
that
it.
that supersedes ecumenically. It supersedes any faith. It's just whatever your journey or whatever your your phone call is your phone call.
Yeah.
I'm not dictating any of that, but so my ability to do this has allowed me to do a lot, and now is allowing me to give extraordinary opportunities to others to be part of a filmmaking process. Anyway, that's all because I watched monster movies when I was a kid and was like, oh, that's the same. But I didn't know. I just wanted to be on TV. So I didn't
Wow.
know how I was a ventriloquist. Imagine how embarrassing that is. You know, an 8-year-old boy carrying around a miniature version of a man.
I loved that. I was obsessed with that when I was little.
Were you really? My
Yeah.
buddy Dwayne Whitaker too. Dwayne was Maynard in Pulp Fiction, and he's been in a number of the films I've made, and we've worked together a lot over the years. But we were both as kids. We were ventriloquists. We were magicians.
Same.
Yo, you too? Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
magic I'm still fascinated with. Ventriloquism, of course. I mean, even though I might understand certain things and how they're done, I still find it extremely fascinating that somebody can do that. Comedy, stand-up comedy, I mean, it's those specific niche arts that I find, just very great. I mean, because it takes a special kind of person, I think.
Yeah, and you know you're watching something unique.
Yeah.
I'll throw something to say to your listeners, watchers. Find Paul Winchell. Paul
Okay.
Winchell on YouTube. Find Paul Winchell. This guy wasn't just a ventriloquist. He's got to be one of the greatest actors who ever lived. And they would use Confederates, like he would have two puppets talking at the same time.
Nice.
But they didn't pre-record voices. So he would talk, that guy would talk, that guy would talk, this guy would interrupt. And like you think, I don't even know how they did that. And then Paul Winchell, like I think he has one of the first patents for a mechanical harp. Like,
Oh, wow.
he did that too. You said something that was like, I'd mentioned Dwayne Whitaker. I always use the same actors in the movies I make because I have a shorthand with those actors.
Yeah.
And Rob, does the same. Why? Why did Woody Allen work with Mia Farrow in all those movies? Because you have a way to connect with your wife. Sherry's so fantastic and enjoyable as Lily, but like she had the benefit of working on it for however long they were thinking about it.
Yeah.
We all had a good amount of time because I was it was July 19th, 2019. Wait, what's today?
Well, you filmed it in Hungary, right? That's where you guys filmed, was in Hungary because of the pandemic, right? That's where you guys could go and work.
No. Now that you've seen the trailer, we filmed it in Hungary because the movie takes place in Transylvania.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So you could
very authentic. Yeah.
Yeah, we have castles, and
it's beautiful. I mean, I'm excited. I think the whole thing is going to be really good, and
he created just as he created and our wonderful staff. You'd see our production designer, this young lady, maybe she's 30 years old. I doubt she's much older. The production design is fabulous, flawless.
Yeah.
He created a whole different world. There's a fun version of Transylvania now that people will have forever.
I'm excited.
With dance clubs and music clubs and restaurants, and it's the Transylvania amusement park.
Yeah, it looks really fun. One last question here. Again, you've done so many different films. Is there one particular character or one particular role that stands out to you that you would ever consider going back and revisiting if you have the opportunity to?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I would certainly it would be great to put Grandpa on again. We'll see what the Lord has in store for that. I've been lucky. I played Jay Leno in a movie.
Yes, you did. The late night.
Yeah, the late shift. Yeah. So it would be fun to go back into that. I'm a little heavier, so I need a little less makeup, maybe. But yeah, it'd be nice to get back. I keep thinking it'd be nice with all these reboots to get back into the Matlock character, Cliff.
Yes.
Because people really liked him. I'm very lucky. My father said to me once, he goes, you like meeting people and people like meeting you. They always have something they can talk about.
Yeah,
So,
I get that vibe for sure.
yeah,
100%.
so thank you, playing Cliff, people just were very sweet to me because they love that guy. Did you have you ever heard of this thing called Mayberry Days?
Yes, I've heard a lot about it.
So I'm going to be a guest there.
Nice.
So for your people who don't know, Mount Airy, North Carolina is where Andy Griffith was born. And they've adopted Mayberry as like their town's alternate identity. And it's great. Like I would welcome people to go to my Facebook or Instagram. There's videos on there of my travels. Often I'll videotape something. And there's two great videos of the travels of of going to Mount Airy. Great, great time. But anyway, once a year they do Mayberry Days. So I'll be one of the guests there because the actors from the Andy Griffith show are, unless they're kids on the show, have passed away. For the most part, there's
Yeah.
one or two 90-year-olds who are still.
Yes. Making it work. Well, I love it. I'm excited. If people have never seen Matlock, I'm sure you can see episodes really anywhere.
Yeah.
YouTube, Hulu. That was such a great show. Of
I think it's
course.
on MeTV every day. And
Yeah, and there's
I
hundreds
did
of reruns.
55. So I did the last three seasons, but I'm other characters in other seasons.
Yes, just so many great projects, and of course, the Munsters playing the iconic Grandpa Munster. It's
Yeah.
going to be. I love it. Daniel, thank you so much for hanging out today. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
You have a great day. Thanks for it. And please send people to a channelofpeace.org if they're curious.